This year, we're doing something unforgettable.
Castles, islands, whiskey.
Have you guessed it yet?
We're headed to Scotland.
Last year, we spent time in Ireland with Chris Fleming.
This year, we are joining the Haunted Scotland Tour with Ryan O'Neill. From October 1st through the 9th, 2026, we will be embarking on a journey through Scotland's haunted past, visiting infamous haunted castles, eerie battlefields, and legendary paranormal hotspots.
Hosted by Secret Ireland Tours and guided by Ryan O'Neill of Haunted Scotland, it'll be a trip you'll never forget.
There is still time to sign up, so join this incredible tour and find out why Ryan always says, where there's history, there's mystery. Situated south of Dublin in Wicklow is a historic Victorian prison known as Wicklow Gaol. Constructed in 1702, the prison began holding prisoners to be sent to the colonies as well as those arrested during the 1798 rebellion and the Great Famine. The earliest recorded prisoner was a friar, Owen McPhee, a 72-year-old popish priest. He was convicted of saying Mass in the county, contrary to the law, and was sentenced to transportation to a British colony in America in 1716. Conditions in the jail were appalling. Hundreds of prisoners were crammed into a 30-square-foot cell designed for 6 prisoners. The jailers were paid a wage and were the ones expected to provide food, lighting, bedding, and other human necessities from their own income. Many of these jailers were open to bribery and corruption. At this time, there was little, if any, supervision of the prison system. It was quite normal for prisoners to have to pay a garnish to the jailer in order to receive a preferential treatment. This could mean anything from obtaining the very basic requirements of food, lighting, and bedding to being provided with rooms and even bedchambers. Many jailers made considerable amounts of money this way, as well as selling alcohol to the prisoners. For those prisoners who were imprisoned as debtors with no money or means to pay the jailer, life in the jail was extremely harsh. Prisoners were held together in rooms, and it was not until prison legislation in 1763 that the separation of males from females, tried from untried, and sane from insane was introduced. Until then, poor people who were arrested for stealing sheep or potato seed were forced to share the space with psychopaths, violent murderers, and rapists. There were instances of clothes and valuables being stolen in order to pay the jailer for alcohol, and prisoners were sometimes murdered for the very clothes on their backs. As men and women were lodged together, rape was a common occurrence. With the Prison Act of 1786, an Inspector General of Prisons was appointed, Sir Jeremiah Fitzpatrick, and in his capacity as a medical man, had seen the urgent need to restructure the whole system by providing better facilities in terms of buildings, hygiene, and sanitation. The constant threat of outbreaks of disease could be eradicated, and the segregation of prisoners into separate male and female sections would enhance their well-being. On visiting Wicklow Gaol in 1785, he viewed it as a very insecure, bad prison. The system that emerged in the early part of the 19th century was one where people were sent to prison to be punished for their crimes, and while they would go through a process of rehabilitation. This meant that they attended school within the prison on a daily basis. Chaplains of all denominations visited regularly to talk to the prisoners and exhort them to virtue. A system of separation was introduced whereby moral contamination of one prisoner by another would be avoided by providing separate cells for each prisoner, as well as individual stalls in the chapel and the treadwheel house. The most important aspect of the rehabilitation was the concept of the prisoners working within the prison. The prisoners were expected to paint the jail and maintain the yards, make the uniforms and shoes, and wash and repair their clothes. The treadwheel was the most common form of punishment inflicted on the male prisoners who were required to work the treadwheel for 5 hours in the summer and 4 hours in the winter, with breaks of 20 minutes allowed from time to time. The whipping of boys was another form of punishment given out to the prisoners, with the governor responsible for overseeing that all punishments were carried out and administered correctly. Over the years, the prison was expanded and eventually became demoted to the status of a bridewell, which was a prison for petty offenders awaiting trial. It closed for a short time between 1900 and 1918, but reopened to hold Republican prisoners during the Irish War of Independence and the Irish Civil War. The last prisoners left in 1924. In 1995, renovations began on the prison and it reopened as a museum in 1998. The original gates of the prison still stand today, and the locals call them the Gates of Hell, a nickname earned by the countless souls who passed through them never to return.
Well, everybody, welcome back.
Hey everyone.
I'm Logan.
And I'm Nicole.
And this is Generation X Paranormal. Guys, we are back to Ireland.
We are.
This is a little short break.
Yay.
We had a good time, though, talking to Brittany and Larry.
We did.
Yeah. And if you guys haven't yet heard or seen that episode, we definitely recommend it. It was a little bit of a departure, but they're a lot of fun to talk to.
Yes.
Another thing that happened while we were taking our sojourn, you finally got to go see Wuthering Heights.
I did. And I won't get into it because I don't want to spoilers, but for a remake, it was good. But of course, they left out one of the main parts, which I can't say. I can't talk about. But I was disappointed, but I figured was going to happen.
Yeah.
Because of, the way they make movies now. But overall, it was good. I give it 8 out of 10. So
8
if
out
you
of 10?
want to see it, go see it.
Yeah, guys, I didn't go to this one. I watched baseball.
Yeah, I didn't force him to go.
I'm sure it was good. I'm not saying it wasn't.
It's definitely a female movie.
Frankenstein was in it. I mean, what else can you say?
Yeah. The movie was good too. But enough about that.
Enough of that. So we're back in Ireland.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And guys, we're happy to be talking about this again because as you can tell with all the different episodes we've had, it's such a great time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this particular episode is kind of near and dear to the heart for a couple of reasons. One, and we're going to get into this later, but there's an availability issue with this place now that it's kind of touching a bit. And it was a place that was it was different, very different. Of course, we're talking about Wicklow Jail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Whenever you go to a jail, in jail, even jails here, like the prison system here in the United States, even though it's not as old and goes back as far, well, some of them, you think about the emotions that these people went through.
Yep.
And more than likely, the trials were not like they are today. And so there was a lot of innocent people. And especially we're going to get into that. Oh, we kind of did in the history in the beginning, but these people, they're going through a rebellion. They're going through the famine, so they're starving.
Yeah.
Right? Starving people will take... there was one story about, I think a kid just taking, some apples off of a tree, and they imprisoned children.
They did.
Imprisoned children. They hung children.
Yep.
For crimes. Yeah. So I cannot, knowing about this stuff before going in this prison, I'm just like, oh...
Yeah.
It's just so, so sad.
Yeah,
and thankfully, we've gotten better as a society since this time period. But it just, there were definitely criminals that needed to be there for murdering and doing things like that. But a lot of them didn't deserve
no, they didn't.
What they got.
Yeah, the justification of them having to be there in the first place is just really rough.
Yeah.
But, when we got there, it was... And usually it was kind of a sunny, nice day, and everybody was kind of upbeat. But I feel like as soon as we walked in the door, it's just that super oppressive kind of feeling right away.
Yeah, it did.
And the walls were really narrow. And for a bigger guy, especially going up and down the stairs, I remember it being kind of congested, and it was a little tight, a little bit too tight for my liking. So. And then, you just kind of get that really scary kind of I didn't feel super welcome there. Not by the people. by any stretch of the meaning. Don't let me say that at all. But there was something there that just made me feel like, I should not be here.
The energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, this particular location was on Spooked Ireland. It
Yeah.
was one of the episodes. So it is
Mhm.
episode 5 of Spooked Ireland. So if you want to go watch that after you listen to our podcast, of course,
Yes.
go and watch it. It's a phenomenal episode.
Mhm.
And they kind of dig into more of the investigation. So, first, before we talk about our actual experiences, we're going to talk about some of the paranormal claims.
Right.
Now, of course, this jail is in Wicklow, since it's Wicklow Jail,
Right.
and it's a
It's
cute
not just a
little
funky name.
It's a cute little seaside town. We actually
Mhm.
stopped and had a little bit of lunch first, and then
Mhm.
walked to the jail from where we were. So I remember like we got in there and we kind of just hung out for a little bit and felt
Mhm.
the place. But let's talk about the paranormal claims before we get further much into that.
Ooh.
So I'll let you start.
Let me start. Paranormal claims. So there's a lot of them, guys, and it's for obvious reasons, being what it is. Some of them are going to be pretty difficult to hear.
Yes.
But kind of to start out, one of the most active areas is the old schoolroom, and there's sightings of little boy they're seen. He's usually standing in a corner, and some people feel tugs in their clothes. And what's really kind of freaky is they will hear laughter or crying. Which is just kind of really tough to hear, a kid do.
Mhm.
And once a dense mist appeared and latched onto a teacher, following her around the room as she moved. That is that's a bit of a
That'd be kind of creepy.
yeah, that is a spine tingler. And also, there's a mist that is seen drifting through the hallways, and those that pass by it feel disoriented, dizzy, and emotionally overwhelmed. And I can
I can see
definitely
that.
attest to that.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. And in cell 5, visitors report sudden waves of nausea, and different types of smells. One of the smells kind of smells like roses, and another smell smells like decay. And what's interesting about that is sometimes that's a really thin line. Some roses can smell.
Well, as they're dying. I
Yeah,
mean, it's the smell of death,
it is the
basically.
smell of death.
But it's biological death.
Right.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So in cell 12, an elderly woman fainted while standing inside, later claiming she felt the hands pressing on her neck, making it hard for her to breathe.
That would be scary.
That'd be very hard. That'd be very scary. Yeah, you're right. And around cell 13, a young girl dressed in tattered clothing can be seen. Sometimes she is referred to, I'll get it right. Sometimes she is referred to as Grace. And they believe she lived at the jail during the Great Famine, and she died of gangrene at the age of 7, breaking her leg.
7 years old.
7 years
In a
old.
jail.
Yeah, I know. A man is seen from cell 19 at the end of the walkway with his hands clasped behind his back. And I've also wondered with that, sometimes like,
Sounds
jailers,
like a guard.
like a guard walking. Yeah, that's kind of the initial thought I had when you hear that claim.
Residual.
Right.
Mhm.
And on the ground floor, a woman in full-length cloak and hood is seen heading towards the first floor cells, always disappearing near cell 22.
Well, and we'll put some of these pictures up here as we talk about it later, but in some of the cases in these cells, they've got mannequins and stuff, and
Right.
the brown blankets that are over them, I'm wondering if that
Yeah,
would look like a cloak.
for sure.
That's just my 2 cents. Anyway,
Good 2
so
cents.
we'll get to some more. There's more.
There's more.
So female visitors have reported feeling a sense of menace,
Mm,
okay, in the ship-themed exhibit.
yes.
Okay, which is the first place we actually started.
Mhm.
They think it may be the spirit of a former jailer they have nicknamed Jack,
Okay.
which we're going to get to. Is very interesting.
We are definitely going to get to it.
And Jack is supposed to be an aggressive entity who dislikes women, and they say he once forced a table 12 feet across the room at a visiting psychic.
Good Lord.
Now, what's interesting about this Jack thing is I found this, way before I started doing research. I found a newspaper article that talks about Jack the Jailer. There was actually a jailer, Jack the Jailer.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So there's actually a link to a man named Jack. So I don't know if on EVP he said his name and why they call him Jack, but that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, or they just, some records that were kept that they kind of understood. I don't
Maybe.
know. Yeah.
Now, if you go and you watch the actual episode, and Chris talks about it later, they encountered, well, a lot of the people will talk about this entity named John that they think was a jailer as well. But could that be Jack? Because if you think about it, Jack and John can be interchangeable as
Sure
far as
can.
names, especially Irish.
Yes.
Jack Kennedy, John Kennedy,
John
right?
Kennedy, Jack
So
Kennedy. Yeah.
maybe it's the same person
There's some potential.
because they talk about John being an aggressive jailer. So I'm wondering if this Jack is not the same person. So
makes you wonder.
So I've already put that up there. But I thought that was pretty interesting. Shadowy figures, of course, are seen.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And sometimes people have the sensation that the floor is moving beneath their feet.
Yes.
Just because it's a seaside area. I'm also wondering because there's, they said that sometimes they would take the dead bodies and throw them in the sea there.
Yes. Yeah,
so are they giving you a sensation of their last feet? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or it's just I don't know.
Could be the fun house effect too.
It could be.
I mean, like I said, when you're going down the stairwells and everything, I mean, it's so weird. Like you feel confined.
It was very tight.
It was very tight. So
the ceiling's low.
So you might get that fun house effect.
Maybe. Yeah. Now, there is a tale, and this is in the show that they talk about, but his name was Hangman Hempenstall. Okay.
That is a name.
Yeah. And he was also known as the Walking Gallows. And he was a 7-foot tall man who was a lieutenant in the Wicklow militia. And it's interesting because I found this. He would travel from jail to jail, okay, and execute condemned prisoners. So it's in the show talking about him being at Wicklow and doing this. But I found an article where he's in Dublin doing it as well. And they have lore about this guy going from place to place. And because he was so tall, he would throw a noose around the person's neck. He would, put him behind him on his back, basically fling him over his shoulder and walk. And as he walked and marched, he would basically hang them, strangle them to death.
Brutal AF.
Yes.
That is crazy.
Yes.
I mean, first of all, just without getting into too much,
that's sick.
That is an up close and very personal way to eliminate somebody.
Yes.
And first of all, to have the the lack of compassion for another human being to do what he does in the first place, but then to have that very intimate way of killing someone, that is barbaric in ways that I can't really wrap my head around.
Yeah. And I saw, it's interesting because you say that about, but his descendants basically that were related to him have dropped the M from the last name. So it's Heppenstall now because they don't want to be associated with this guy.
Did not know that. I mean, it makes, listen, I
wouldn't want to, but
we have long since been able to understand that there is true evil in the hearts of men.
Oh, yes.
I love that part in Lord of the Rings. But but anyway, I've been deployed. I've seen things that are awful. But this type of just brutality it's something.
Yeah, and so he's well known in the jail. They've even got a placard, which we'll put these pictures up, as we're talking. So he's definitely talked about possibly being in the jail. They hear him like marching or boots. Now, could that be anybody? Of course it could. It could be anybody, the jailers or whatever. But I mean, with that kind of, anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. On to the next. These next two are not something that I just, read about. It's something I actually found looking for other things.
Interesting.
And so these are more recent. These are in the 1990s, okay? And it's talking about it's in the paper, in the local Wicklow paper. It's Wicklow Friends or something like that.
Cool name.
And so one of these stories is about some of the employees that worked there and what happened when they came in the next day for work, okay? So I guess there was these steel pikes that they had inside the jail. Okay. So the jail was all locked down. They just, they had old artifacts basically in the jail because it's a museum.
Sure.
So these two steel pikes were locked inside the jail. There's security, there's cameras and stuff. This is May of 1999.
Yeah, well, that long ago.
Yeah.
I mean,
listen,
there are things I tell myself to make myself feel better.
It doesn't feel that long.
Right.
But it is.
And we're going to say 1999 was not that long ago, okay?
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. But they come in to work, and the steel pikes had been found embedded 12 feet up in the stone wall.
Wow.
On the outside of the prison, which overlooks the exercise yard.
Jeez.
Steel pikes embedded 12 feet up high.
Okay.
So not only would you need a ladder to get up that high to do it, then you're pounding on these steel pikes, in the middle of the night. People would hear that. I mean,
You
that's
would
loud.
think.
That's metal, right? Going into stone.
Yeah. And guys, if you're looking at the picture and if you're listening on the podcast, this place may look like it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. It's not.
No, it's in the middle of the city.
It's smack in the middle of the city.
So this is a quote from one of the employees, says, "The jail is closed and locked at night, and there is no way anyone could have got the pikes out of the jail, and there is no way anyone could have gotten to the exercise yard."
Mm-hmm.
And they said, to add to this fact, basically, that where the pikes were embedded on the exterior wall is the shared wall of one of the most haunted cells, which had been used for holding the children.
Interesting.
So it's the other side of one of the most haunted cells. I don't know which cells they are. They didn't name it, but I thought that was kind of crazy.
I mean, it adds.
How does
to
that happen? Like, I can't.
I don't
besides
know.
someone actually breaking in, grabbing, or like somebody playing a joke or an employee doing it. I mean, I guess it's very possible that could happen, but you'd think like someone would hear that. But they've got cameras. Wouldn't they be able to?
You would think, and guys, this was a jail. It's not like getting in and out was the easiest thing in the world to do. So I don't know. I don't know how you get in. I mean, unless it's like some inside job, like one of the caretakers is like, oh, they'll love this, and like plays a prank. Aside from that,
I can't explain it.
I don't know.
Right. And so we've got another one, and this one's April 1998. So there were some workmen in, and when they say they had painted the floor, they were putting like sealer or varnish, stain, something like that. They call it paint. But they had done it at the end of the day, locked up the jail, and they were going to come back the next morning and finish whatever they were doing. Well, when they came back and got into the jail, they found little tiny barefoot footprints all across the flooring.
That's weird.
And it had dried because it had still been wet whatever walked across it. And they said it appeared to be child footsteps, like a little kid.
Well, I mean, we just talked about
I know.
I mean, that, first of all, that.
But it scared
sure.
The workers were frightened. Like, some of them didn't want to go back in there and finish their job.
There are some things that when it has to do with the paranormal, there are some things that just sort of hit that taboo button a bit. Walking in and seeing a bunch of footprints from a little kid. Yeah, that
in a locked up jail.
In a locked up jail, that puts me in the heavy freak out area.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Yeah. So I thought those were, I just ran across those. I'm like, this is really cool. So I wanted to include it. So there we go. Those are, and I know there's a lot more.
Oh, yeah.
But we just kind of wanted to hit on there because that kind of covers all the bases, like most of what is said.
Sure.
So we're going to start, we walk in the jail and we're in the ship part of the museum, like talking about the shipyards and stuff. And as we're talking, we'll put different pictures up that I took that, are in the museum. And it's they've got a lot of informational plaques on the walls and stuff like that. Even if we don't mention it, at least you can, if you want to pause the video and read about it, I've included it because it is some important historical information.
And if you're listening, we're going to start being better at this. I'll admit, I'm the worst one, as I'm the one that does most of our posts for that. I'm going to start adding the photos that we put in the videos so you guys can see them. And I apologize, guys. That's on me.
Yeah. So we start, and this is just a quick video because it's interesting as we go in here and everybody's just kind of looking around and we're not really, focusing on anything in particular. But the docent is there, and she is somebody that was on the show. She wasn't the docent then, but she was then.
Right.
And that's something that we need to mention is we were one of the last groups that was able to enter Wicklow Jail before they closed down because it's changing ownership. So they're not sure what's going to happen. So you'll hear, and her name is Sarah Duffy, and she talks a little about that. I'm not going to say what she says, but you'll hear it in here. But what's interesting is as she's talking about this stuff, we set our K2 on a table right behind her.
Yeah.
And as she's talking about the spirits in the jail, we want you to watch what happens to the K2.
Interesting
so
stuff.
We're going to play that right here.
You know, it's like losing part of your family. It's like your family breaking up, getting a divorce. You know, and I love it in here. I love the feeling I get in here. And when there's nobody in here, sometimes I'd sit in the jail talking to them. You know?
Totally understand you. So do you hear any direct responses?
I've heard my name being called. I heard a growl here when I was turning on stuff. And when I went to the dungeon, I heard the same growl.
And she was saying about that woman's voice, and I says, yes, it's true. And she heard that in her head.
Plus, they've called me by name. Really loud. I've heard it several times. When the woman that follows me around the jail, she comes too close to me, it makes me very sad and tears come out of my eyes, but I wouldn't be crying personally myself. I don't feel I'm crying, but tears do. Sometimes I could be talking to a visitor that comes in here and I'll be telling a story and they say, "You okay, you're crying?" I said, "No, I'm not crying, it's just the one who's close to me." So I've had many experiences in here and I'm very, very sad to leave it.
Absolutely.
You know, in 5 years I've been here and I know every inch of it, and there's not any part that I wouldn't go into. I'm not scared of any of them, not even John. And I was on your show and I was telling you about John outside of 27.
In another place.
In another place. He put his hands on me and pushed me down, and I just told him to get off me, don't touch me.
So I found that pretty interesting. She's talking about her experiences of stuff that's happened to her, and that thing is just lighting up like crazy.
Yeah, they're definitely around her.
Mm-hmm.
No question about it. And she's
there all the time.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's going to be an attachment.
Yeah.
And she's great at just telling story too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and it's amazing to me that there's that kinship, you know.
Of course, they're
going to know her.
Mm-hmm.
And it's upsetting to think that may not be
no
continued.
one's there.
Right?
I know.
Nobody's there right now.
Yeah. And she was sad. She talked about that.
Yeah.
And the other thing she mentioned is what we were talking about before is the John character. Like, I think it was John. He was pressing down me, that oppressive.
Yeah.
And she's a female.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's interesting too, because if you ever watch the show, she's got one of the greatest lines ever. She looks in and she's talking about what she says to this ghost, and she turns around and she goes, "Don't touch me." The way she says it, you're just like, "Oh shit, okay, no, I'm not going to touch you."
Well, you got to be very firm.
And she's awesome.
Be very, very firm. Yeah. So I thought that's all we have for about right there. But we leave that area and we go basically just kind of across the hall through the gates, and this is in the bottom floor of the cell area. So you've got, it's a museum now.
Yeah.
So all the cells, like I said earlier, they have mannequins set up to basically show like different time periods and different prisoners that would have been in there. And they've also got it in the middle too, like in between the cells. So we'll put some of those pictures up here, and we kind of walk into one of the cells. And they also have, like, over the loudspeakers in each cell, like an example of like a person's story.
And while that was great, I'm going to tell you guys right now, of the evidence that we do have, or some of the things that we have, you're probably going to say to yourself, "Why didn't you guys do a ton of investigating in each cell?" That was the reason why.
It like played
motion. Played in motion. So it would be almost near impossible to do a complete investigation. Now, we did do one. I'm not saying we didn't, but that's the reason why we didn't do as much.
Not daytime tour.
Right, not daytime tour, right.
So we walk into one, and there's a woman, a mannequin woman laying on the bed. And it's interesting because, and you guys know her already. She has been one of our guests on the show, Yasmin. And she walks in, and I hadn't really talked to her yet up to this point on the trip. And she approaches me, and I decided I wanted to share the story because it's important to me. So she approaches me and basically feels like I have someone with me. And we come down to it that it's my father's father, so my paternal grandfather, which would have been the Irish Callahan is my maiden name. So, and she goes, I just feel like he's here with you, which I thought was really interesting. Now, I lost my grandfather when I was like 12, so he's been gone a very long time. And so it was very interesting that he would be the one to show up. And a little bit later, they have like a list of names on the wall. And so when we were in Ireland, everywhere we went, I looked for the name. Now, I know Callahan's a very, very Irish name, and it's going to be everywhere.
It's like looking up for Smith.
Right. But I was like, I would just want to see. And so they had a short list of names on the wall, and we'll put this up here. There was a Callahan, it's spelled Ghan, a John Callahan, and I was like, oh, so I took a picture of it, right? Whatever. And as I'm going over the research for this episode, I'm like, I'm just curious because I had remembered I had done some ancestry and I had found the ancestor that had come from Ireland to America, right? I went back and looked, and his name was John Callahan,
Wouldn't that be
which
something?
is crazy.
Yeah.
And the time period of when, I don't have like when he came, like the year he came or what ship he came on. I don't have any of that stuff. But the time that he lived was the exact timing around when they were shipping inmates to the colonies.
You just don't know.
Wouldn't it be really weird if that John Callahan, that it's probably not.
I mean,
but it's just interesting to me that I find that, and then she says my Callahan grandfather's there with me.
I mean, there's a non-zero chance of it.
I know.
It so just, I mean, it is weird.
And I didn't recognize the name, the John Callahan, like as while we were there. It wasn't until just this last week as I was working on it. So I don't know. I just wanted to share that with you guys because I was like, whoa, wouldn't that be really odd if my ancestor was actually there?
I know.
Like he got arrested for petty theft or he was starving or something like that happened. He got shipped over there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Probably just trying to eat an apple.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. So, yeah, the experiences walking around there, I know that when we got to a certain, and it was hard reading some of these plaques. Yeah. It was hard knowing what these poor people went through.
Yeah, it was rough.
Ugh.
I mean,
and how cold it probably was, and they were starving and they were sick, and you know, they talk about all the disease and stuff that was going on there and how packed in they were and all the bad things that were happening. And so they've got different cells, like I said, but at the very end of that path, they basically have a door, which we'll put the picture up here, talking about, like, you know, people keep out because of the sick. And when I got to that area, it was very strange because I got really nauseous to my stomach, like incredibly nauseous. Like I was sick. And I was like, what is going on?
I actually thought you're going to lose it.
I did too. And I was like, I didn't eat anything for lunch because we just had soup and sandwiches. So I didn't eat anything.
It was good soup and sandwiches.
Yeah, it was good, but it wasn't anything that would have aggravated my stomach to cause me, you know, sometimes Mexican food will aggravate my stomach or spicy food. And I didn't have anything like that. So it was very odd to get it like right in the location where it's talking about that. So that was a little strange for me.
It is strange. And what's interesting is for some reason, and there are other people that do paranormal investigations, why is it that we always eat like Mexican food or like pizza or wings or something stupid like that right before we go on an investigation?
Or ham.
Or, Anna or ham.
We still talk about the ham.
The ham.
Which you'll hear about that much later.
Yeah.
But so that was my experiences in it. I mean, I didn't really feel off most of the time, except I just remember that nauseousness.
Right.
So at some point, we all decide, or the majority of us try to cram in this tiny little cell.
Yeah.
I do not remember I wish I would have taken a picture, but I do not remember the number of the cell.
No.
But the cell has like depictions of British military in there, and it's got different, you know, thing. And so there's a lot of us in here, and it's tiny, and we're all like, and thinking about it, you know, these were built for 6 people.
Yeah.
And I don't even know how many of us were in there.
Probably about a good 15 at
Probably
least.
about 15. And
Yeah.
we were crammed. Like, couldn't even, like, standing room only.
We were very, very, very close.
So think about if that's just us standing there just doing some EVP work, like some investigation work for like 30 minutes.
Right.
Can you imagine 30 people in that room? Like, where would they have even stood? They couldn't have laid down. They couldn't have done anything
No,
like
I mean,
that.
that is pretty much standing room only.
So we're going to play this in sections and talk about what we got, because some of it is hard to hear. You're going to hear background noise from other visitors, and some of us are whispering and stuff. We're trying to all be, but you got to think, we're in a tiny little cell.
Yeah,
and
it's
we're all, like,
impossible to be that quiet.
We're all trying to be quiet, and we're trying to also converse with each other. Like, what are you hearing? What are you hearing? You know? So you may hear some of that, but we'll try to explain. And if you're on the video, we always try to put the words up
of what we think
we've heard, so you can, like, kind of latch onto it, and if you have to go back and look it over. Okay, so we're gonna play this first one, and then we will talk about it.
Spirits. Do you remember last time we were here? Yes, okay. Yes, thank you. There were some spirits that crossed over. How many crossed over? Some of them? 3? That's not many. I don't even care. Okay, so some of you don't care about crossing over. No. How many spirits and ghosts still reside in this property and within this jail? About how many? Count. 8. Can you tell me how many?
25.
Okay, so Chris kind of opens it up. He's using the Necrophonic app, and we also we got a mannequin in there with us too.
I know.
So it's not just us, but we're sitting with this mannequin.
It's
and at one
weird,
point, Chris is like, he's like, "Here, hold this," and he doesn't realize it's the mannequin. It was pretty funny. It gave us a good laugh. But so we get a hello, and he's asking, "Do you remember the last time we were here?" Yes, which they always seem to remember when Chris has been there.
They remember him well.
And you know, when he was there last, he tried to cross some spirits over. So he's asking how many crossed over. Some of them 3.
Right.
So, now this was interesting to me because I listened to it several times and I was like, wait a minute. It doesn't say it just once, because we hear it, but it said it several times, because he's trying to ask he's trying to figure out if he did any good the last time he was there by helping them. So he's like, how many spirits are still here? Like, how many are on the property? He's like, come on, count. Like, he's basically telling them, count.
Right.
So they count.
Yes, they do.
Because you hear 8 from the app, 8 from the app again, and then I think it's an EVP.
Oh, it's 100% an EVP.
I don't think it's from the app. You hear 8. It sounds like a whisper. 8. So you hear 8, 8, 8.
Yeah, and with Necrophonic, it's very modulated.
Yes.
That was not modulated.
It was not. It sounded like a whisper, and it was very close to where we were. So you hear 8, 8, 8. And then a little bit from the Necrophonic, you hear 25. And I'm like, wait a minute. 8, 8, and 8 is actually 24.
Right.
Which you're not a mathematician.
Nope.
But were they trying to count? He told them to count.
Right.
8, 8, 8, 25.
Yeah. And
I was like, whoa, that's so crazy.
I mean, even standing there in the cell, I didn't hear the other 8. So I wouldn't have known. So when they said 25 at that time, it was just like, okay, well,
we're getting random numbers.
Right. It's an arbitrary number at that point. But when you reviewed it.
And we got 3 8s.
Yeah. And that other 8, I'm sorry, guys, speculate all you want. But that is literally an EVP. That is a voice in that room.
And in case you don't know, 8 plus 8 plus 8 is 24. Okay.
Right.
But that's just crazy. Because he told them count.
Right.
So crazy. I was like,
Mhm.
I got so excited when we got. I was
So
like,
he's still there saying numbers.
I know. I was like, Logan, oh my
Yeah.
gosh. So that was really cool to get that. And then we also had I had my app up,
Mm-hmm.
which does the pictures.
Right. The
Okay.
seer.
Yeah, go seer. So we're going to put that up here. And while they're talking about how many people are still on this property, we get this picture of a house
Mm-hmm.
with like ghost people in it. Just very interesting.
Yes, we do.
Mm-hmm. We'll play the next clip and we'll talk about it.
Okay.
I am so tired.
They're draining you.
Yeah.
Bro, it's never said bro before. It's making fun of you. The other says bro. Bro.
Yo, what up? What up, G?
Ask a question.
Oh my goodness. You put me on the
Where's
spot.
G? There she is. What up, G?
I don't know what to ask. I'm like,
Let's go to the next picture.
yeah, no, sorry. I'm
We'll
just
see if somebody's digging something up.
I'm just taking it all in.
That's great. Right?
Please leave.
Right.
How many children were here?
40.
Did they all die here? A word
Oh,
report
okay.
to boss and Shaw, or North Shaw?
I probably stopped because this one
Oh,
then went to
okay,
that.
all right, okay, that's fine.
That was quite good day at the time. Really go here. May, what's this? It's a sign of a poppy. In Ireland, poppies. I remember.
Oh, poppies. Well, then, that's more of an English thing. It'll be the word too.
Memorialize the World War II. Just ask about the babies and
Okay, so at this point, Chris is starting to feel some energy drain. He's
Sure.
getting tired. And it's funny because we get a bro, which is really funny. And he's kind of like laughing at Alex, like,
Mhm.
that's what you always say. Which I
Not
thought was kinda
bruh.
fun.
You didn't say bruh.
Yeah. And so on our seer, which is pretty interesting, we get this photo of a guy digging a grave.
Yeah.
I don't know. And so we're talking about how many children are here. We get the name or the number 40,
Mm-hmm.
which I hope that's not an
I
accurate
hope it's
number.
not either.
And then we get this photo, and immediately I was like, for some reason, I just was like, those are red poppies. You know, it's like a big field of red poppies. And I felt like there had to be something significant about that. And May was standing right there. I was like, May, is this significance in Irish culture? And she said it's more associated generally with Britain.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. But when I looked it up just to see if there was an association in Ireland, like there was any lore about it, this is the description that I got. Fields of red flowers in Ireland, particularly poppies, symbolize a deep connection to the land, military remembrance, and in folklore, a link to the other world and the fairy realm.
Mm.
Red poppies specifically are a poignant symbol of wartime sacrifice. And what we were in the room that we were in where the British soldiers were, and it had the flags and
Sure
talking
did.
about the war and like the rebellion and all that stuff that happened. And remember, there was a lot of rebellion prisoners
Yeah.
in Wicklow.
Sure were.
And then later, when they had the Irish Civil War and they fought against Britain to win their independence, that part of Ireland,
yeah.
their prisoners were there, kept there. So,
I mean, it doesn't seem like a mistake.
no. And
It's-
for some reason, I just like, it was just a picture of red
Yeah.
flowers, and I was like, it was poppies. Like I knew it instantly.
And there's always going to be those people that talk about this particular app or apps and all this stuff. I get it. It's seer. I know some people will have this thing, but it's still corroboration. I mean, you look at
We've had some really good luck with
it's
seer.
amazing
Mhm.
stuff.
We don't use it all the time, but
Mm-mm.
sometimes it collaborates with other things.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Okay, we're going to play this next clip and then talk about it.
memorialize the World War II. Just ask about the babies and
I heard it. It sure did.
What?
Said the F word.
Yeah.
Said it
again.
It's because I'm holding it.
How many babies died here, can you tell me?
Diane? Ask a question.
Was there a suicide in the ammunition cell?
What?
I don't speak English well enough.
What?
I'm gonna ask, how many people committed suicide here?
That's what I heard.
That's a good question.
Word up.
When you were here, what did you miss most about the outside world?
So Sunday?
Day? Day. Do they? Well, maybe daytime. Day again?
Maybe the light.
So day, because they never got to spend the day outside, right? They'd be stuck in here and it'd be dark.
Well, the conditions were deplorable in here.
Because who was with me? Tracy was saying outside seemed to be a lot more relaxed, and I was just saying to her, well, that's the only time that probably have any daylight.
Mommy?
Months.
What was the age of the person, the youngest child hung there? How old were they?
Okay, so I hope you had earmuffs on. They like to cuss right out of the gate there.
Yeah.
But we're still trying to get to the bottom of the if children died here, you know.
Yeah.
So how many babies died here? 10. And then I don't know if everybody heard it. I know me and Tracy heard it. So Tracy's the one holding the speaker.
Mm-hmm.
And it almost sounded like a baby sound, like a baby crying or something like that. Because I remember I looked right at her and I was like, that's a baby. But we were asking about babies.
We were.
So, and it did come from the necrophonic. So I don't know. And then Robin got to ask, was there a suicide in the ammunition cell? And it was really funny. It's because they speak French. They're from Canada. This
Right.
is Yasmin's husband, Robin.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of people were teasing him because he's got a very thick French accent. And so it was funny. He asked this question and it's like, what? So we were all busting out laughing. And then we get a response and none of us picked up on it in the moment. But it says, I don't know about that.
Yeah. Answered him.
Like, I don't know if there was a suicide.
Mm-hmm.
So that was interesting. And then we're asking how many people committed suicide here. And it sounds like we hear no one and then 5. So everybody's unsure.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. This next one, different people heard different things. Now, I didn't hear anything in the moment. And a lot of people heard when Sade, I think, asked, what did you miss the most about the outside world? Right? I think Chris thought he heard day. And we were talking about the light, but I heard very clearly when I reviewed it, the sky.
Mm.
And we don't think about that.
Right.
Because that would be the thing. Because if they're in that cell, they're getting light from the window. They could look out the window, but they'll never see the sky that way. If they're sick and they don't get to go out in the yard or they're never going to see the sky.
No, they're not.
Because those windows, remember, were up really high.
Right.
And they're just like, letting in tiny like panes of light, but you're never going to actually see the sky.
No, that's
I was like really
troubling.
sad when I heard that. Like, what
Especially if
did
they're
you miss
kids,
the
you know?
most? The sky. Ugh, it bothers me so much. Tracy and I both heard mommy come across, and then we hear Rome. Then not in the moment, but I heard this later. Rome and Catholic priest. But if you remember in the history, they allowed chaplains eventually in some point to come in and pray with the prisoners.
That's right. Yeah, they did say that. You did say that.
And they were Catholic.
Well, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. And what was the age of the youngest child hung here? We get the word noose. Ugh, I can't even think about that. Like I don't even want to talk about it. I
Yep.
can't imagine doing that to a child,
No, I
no matter
couldn't.
how naughty they are. I mean, seriously?
I mean, it's bad enough, guys. At one point, I was a medic in the Army, and some of the training I had to go through was to start an IV on a child, and that image and that whole endeavor that I went through, that is indelible in me forever. I could not imagine the depravity behind somebody that can do that.
No. Okay, let's just keep
Yeah,
going
we'll
because
keep going.
I can't focus on it for too long. Okay, we're gonna play this next clip
Okay.
and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I'm hearing French
I
now.
heard two responses in French.
Yeah, so did I.
What were they?
This and the first one was.
What was
Pose
it?
une question.
Was it?
Est-ce qu'il y avait des prisonniers français ici?
Non.
Non.
Qui parlait français ici?
Prie. Pray, prie, pray.
Yeah, see.
Set.
Seven.
Sept.
Seven.
Pray. Okay.
Are you at peace now?
Tell them what? Yeah. Listen.
Did you do what they accused you for being here? Woman said no. That's what I heard too.
We know a lot of you were killed and hung here for just stealing something like a shirt off a clothesline. Did you think that was unfair?
Fair.
You thought
Yes.
the
Shirt.
We thought we heard a couple of French words come across, and
Mhm.
because Yasmin and Robin both speak French, they asked a question, and we get no. Like I think what they asked was, "Is anybody speaking to us in French?" No.
Yeah.
But then they got the pre, which was pray.
Right.
And they were talking a lot about like because think about it, if you're a prisoner, you didn't, and I think this was mentioned on the show too, if they didn't get last rites, they feel like they couldn't move on, and maybe that's why
Sure.
they feel they're still left behind, right? So we get this photo. It's just a photo of a man. I don't know if that was supposed to mean something. Nothing really came across about that. And then we get 7 in French.
Hmm.
So somebody was speaking French.
Yeah, they were.
Okay. And we get pray again and tell them, right? And are you at peace now? And this one, I don't know. I can't tell if this is necrophonics again or if this is
Yeah.
an EVP. This one could be either or, but I very clearly, it sounds like a whisper. Help me.
Hmm.
Are you at peace now? Help me.
Yeah, that's the trick with necrophonics too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think this was Alex. Tell them what? I listened to a couple of times, but it's a female. Tell them what happened in here.
Mhm.
Ugh. Which we're doing right now.
That's right.
We're doing it right
We're
now.
exposing it now.
Tell them what happened in here. Help me. Tell them what happened in here. And then you asked, did they do what they accuse you of?
Yeah,
And
did
they'll-
you do right? Because I wanted to know. I wanted to know if it was their chance to say, "Hey, I didn't do this."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what we get right after this, we debated on for a while.
We did.
So we're not even probably 60% sure this is what this
Right.
is. We definitely think it's something me. Like they're trying to tell us something happened to them.
Mm-hmm.
But we decided that this is what we think they say. But
Right.
but we would love to know what your interpretation of it is, what
Mhm.
you think it might say. But we feel it says they strangled me.
That's kind of what I got.
Mm-hmm. It's
Especially
definitely something me. That it's do me.
and it kind of follows some of the line of questioning.
It does.
And that's why sort of why we came to that, I don't know, I guess conclusion for lack of better words.
And, talking about there was hangings, right?
Mhm.
The guard that would basically strangle someone on his back as he
100%.
walked.
Not basic. Strangle the shit out of
Yeah.
someone.
But also, there were prisoners that killed other prisoners. And, they didn't really have means of weapons necessarily inside the jail. So what would be the easiest way?
Yeah, strangle them.
Well, not easy, but you know what I mean?
Not easy, but
They probably did that, especially to ones that were weaker.
Bludgeoning or strangulation.
Mm-hmm, yeah. So that could mean anything. It could be the hanging. It could be, but it does sound like they strangled me.
Mm-hmm.
But those responses in that little group right there were all very sad. Help me tell them what happened in here. No, I didn't do what they said. They strangled me. And it's really, really unsettling to get answers like that. Really unsettling. Now we did get this photo, which I thought was interesting. It's like, it basically looks like the inside of the prison.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're standing there, it's like a big open area, and on sides you just got cell doors. In this photo, it looks like it's a little boy, maybe.
And that's
standing in the middle with doors on the side.
Yeah.
And so it was really strange to get that. Is that who was talking to us?
No.
I mean, know.
Like I said, we talked about it in the very beginning, is an entity that is known.
Mm-hmm. Now, Chris says, did you think that was unfair? Fair. Yes, shirt. Because Alex is talking about, even if they would steal a shirt, if they would do this, they would imprison them here and hang them. Fair, yes, shirt. You can't tell if it says unfair or fair.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's tough because there's other stuff on top of it.
And Chris heard fair.
Yeah, he heard fair. And it does sound like just fair, but I can't really tell. But they say shirt. Yes, shirt. So I don't know. But that little session right there was very unsettling for me. So we've got another clip here for you, and then we'll talk about it.
Say priest. Heavenly Father, will you take these souls? Heavenly Father, will you take these souls that do want to cross and no longer want to be here? Will you give them peace? Take them to the door, the light. You're sinner.
Dave.
Listen to the loved ones calling you from the doorway. Joe. You recognize them, go to the doorway. Cat. It's okay, remove yourself from them.
Okay.
Get dizzy.
These are arms.
Go ahead, Jasmine.
I don't
No.
think it's appropriate anymore, but yeah, no. I feel I don't want to ask that question anymore.
Just said no.
Yeah.
Is that the song? Gaston?
Gaston?
What does that mean?
Yes, boy.
So we get trapped, careful, priest, pray, right? So we're getting this pray keeps coming up over and over again. I want a priest, pray for me, pray for me, pray for me, right? And as Chris is kind of talking about this, it's interesting because this picture comes up of like either a door or a window with light coming through. And I know in previous locations, Chris had talked about like a doorway. Like usually when he prays for the souls of these people, sometimes they'll show him a doorway or a window, like that's how to cross over, right? So for that picture to come up as we're getting priest and pray and they're trapped and he's starting to pray for them, I thought it was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And then we get the word sinner and let me out. Like they have felt like they've been trapped in that cell all this
Yeah,
time
and they
until
have.
somebody's there to pray for them.
Right.
And so it was really heartbreaking. But I'm so glad that Chris started to pray for them.
Right.
To try to release that for them. And then, we were standing right there and Tracy's the one holding the speaker. And because I'm right next to her and I can see her face, I start to watch her and her face starts to turn a little bit and she starts just sweating and sweating. And I remember at one point I was like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "Yeah." But then it just like keeps increasing. I know she's getting really uncomfortable. And I'm like, I touched her arm. I said, Are you okay? And then she finally says, "No, I'm not feeling good." And so I took the speaker from her and she left the room and I think I remember afterwards I went to check on her to see how she was feeling.
Yeah.
And I can't remember exactly what she told me she was feeling, but I know she just started feeling really bad and like drained and not feeling well at all. So I don't know what happened in there, but Chris had already been feeling it for a while, like the draining. I don't remember feeling anything particularly in that room. But I mean, there were beads of sweat and
Yeah,
it
she
wasn't
was
hot in there or anything.
No,
It was
it
actually a
wasn't hot.
chilly day.
Right.
So it was weird to watch that happen to her. So something was hanging out right around her and Chris is what I think.
They
Or
definitely.
it was just hanging out around Chris and she was right next to him and she got the after effects is what I think.
Well, and she's got the device, the voice is coming out on
Uh-huh.
too. So
So yeah. And then Yasmin had wanted to ask a question earlier and then she's, Chris like, "Okay, go ahead, ask the question." And she's like, "Well, I don't think it's appropriate anymore." And it says no. So it's basically she's like, it's so funny that because she can pick up on that stuff. It's like
She
she's like, "I
does.
know it's not appropriate to ask this question I was going to ask now," and they're like, "No, like, you're correct. Do not ask that question."
She got it.
And then we get another French word, but it's like every time they start to speak or say anything, they know they speak French, and then there's a French word that comes out, and so it was garçon, I think,
Yes.
which they said means boy.
And it's
So I think we had a little boy in there talking to us.
Yeah, and then some people have heard it like people who watch Pulp Fiction or something, they'll say garçon like in a restaurant, which is like saying boy come here, which is very derogatory. Don't say it. But yeah, that's also used derogatory too. So
Oh, well, I didn't know that part. But I don't think that's what I think.
No, I don't either.
Because of all the stuff that we were getting before that. I don't know. So that was our little session. And we were all had to kind of stop because Tracy got sick. Chris was not feeling well. He was completely drained. And so, like, okay, we're going to try to go down to the basement now. And I remember going to the stairs and going down slowly because I felt a little weird on the stairs going down to the basement. They were sketchy stairs.
Yeah.
So I was probably just trying to like not fall, but I felt a little off, like unbalanced.
Yeah, I mean that whole place was like that. Yeah.
Not as much as on the stairs for me. It was more going as if that's my experience, like going as the basement.
Okay.
So we go down there. We didn't spend a lot of time down there, but they had, the cell set up the same way. And we're going to play you just a little clip of Chris talking about his experience on the show. And then something else that we got told afterwards.
Interesting spot. Never expected it, but came in contact with the guard. The guard had a lot of anger, but then I saw what the guard went through as a child. And he was projecting that, casting out, tormenting, and getting off on it because what was done to him, he was now taking it on prisoners, which was wrong. He saw that that was wrong, and he realized, okay. And then as the light came for him, he felt everything that he had done to all these people. He experienced it in a form of judgment, self-reflection, judgment. And he felt completely tormented because everything he did to torment them, as well as his life, was compounded in that moment to where he realized, oh my God, what I did was, worse than what was done to me. So he was begging for forgiveness and emotionally pleading. And that was shocking because Evelyn was like, oh my God, you can hear this man pleading through the Frank's box, this emotion. But also we felt it in the room, where you felt this overwhelming sense of wanting forgiveness and sense of self-torment. You know? So that was really cool. I'll never forget that, because we've got it documented. And I know Evelyn's skeptical if they asked us whatever. I told her there's someone behind me. So they said, okay, give Evelyn to see if she can validate it. And she realized it shows up behind me. Evelyn's like, oh shit, you know, there it is. So that was cool. But I think it was a whole team effort of us working together to come to a communication with the one thing that we had hoped to come in contact with, was that particular guard, right? So, yeah, it's like you just don't know if you're going to get it. You just don't know what's going to happen. And then it does. You're like, wow, you know, to hear him. And it was right here, because they had the Frank's box over here, if I remember correctly, whatever device we had. And I don't remember, I was in the chair, then I was on the stage. And we were all like, dude. So but I know there was something over here. I started getting angry. I started feeling the spirit latch on, was making me very angry, and I assumed it was him. I can't remember, because that was a couple years ago.
Okay, so that's Chris talking about his experience on the show and encountering the spirit of the guard.
Mm-hmm.
Who was that guard? We don't know. Was
We
it
don't
Jack? Was
know.
it John? Was it this other guy? We don't know. But that was his experience talking what he felt this, you know, guard realized what he did.
Right.
Which I really hope so.
I hope so too.
Yeah, but one of the people that was in the jail that was talking to us was speaking to us about the building of and I think it was just the basement walls. I don't know if it was the whole jail, but she said in the very beginning when they were kind of building it. Or maybe, I think it was like you know, maybe not right in the beginning. It was like after they were trying to do some renovations and do some more work to it, is what I think she said. That because there were so many sick and dying during the Great Famine and during those time periods, and there were so many bodies they didn't know what to do with, and just people dying in the prison, that they started insulating the walls and using the bodies, the skeletons, to build the basement of the prison.
Yep.
She said, so we're standing right next to these walls, and I believe she said there's thousands of bodies in these
I remember something like that.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if she said hundreds or thousands, but I'm pretty sure she said thousands.
Yeah, and it's not that unbelievable, guys, because they were literally dumping them in the water, in the sound. Which, first of all, again, what a horrible way to die, and then to have your remains just cast out into the ocean like that. But yeah, putting them in the walls.
After she told us that, I was like, I need to get out of here.
Yeah.
I was just, and it was just the normal creepy feeling of knowing that, like, all these bodies are literally all around us.
Started to feel like Poltergeist.
Well, it's like, you know, you get like X-ray vision. You start to get like X-ray vision, like Superman or something, and like looking at the walls, you feel like you can just look through and see all these skeletons piled on top of each other and just jammed in there. Instead of using wood or concrete or whatever materials, you're packing them full of just bodies. Oh, it was too much for me to handle, and I was like, no, it's time to go back upstairs. No, I know it was definitely the basement walls, but I don't know how much farther up in the prison they did it, but it was definitely in the basement.
Well, the walls in the basement were different because they were like a plaster type, you know. Obviously in the jail itself,
there's more stone.
So my guess is, now I don't know for sure, it was just in the basement, but I mean, that's still a lot of freaking people.
Yeah.
And there are bodies all over the place on the grounds. We know that. And then they're literally putting bodies into the sea.
In the water.
In the water. So yeah, it was quite the experience.
Yeah. No, we didn't actually go outside in the yard. I actually didn't even know it was there until afterwards. So I wish that I would have went out and seen that, but wow, what an experience.
It really
in
was.
That place. And it would be incredible to investigate it, but such a sad history. And just the things that we got just in that little session in that room were so incredibly powerful in what they said. And it just goes to show you like how our energy can stick around or stay behind in the beliefs that we have in our life.
Yeah.
So if they believed, I'm a sinner and I didn't get my last rites, and so therefore I can't go on, it's almost like they keep themselves there
Yeah.
in that turmoil. And knowing that these poor people, the majority of them that didn't really even do anything that bad, could have been stuck there for eternity
Yeah. It's
because nobody's prayed for them and they feel like they have, it's just in children. It's really heartbreaking to think
a lot of
about.
weight to it. A
Hmm.
lot of weight to it.
So incredible experience.
Yep.
And we were very lucky to get in there because I think it closed like 10 days after we were there or
Yeah,
something. I mean, we were probably
I don't know if
one
there
of the
were other
last.
guests or not, but I know for sure
We
we
were
were one of
probably
the
one of the
last.
last big groups that went through
Yeah.
there.
Mhm.
And I know everybody was super sad about it, but it's an incredible place. I'm glad that at least that they have kept the history and they're teaching people about what really happened there because that's how we learn from our mistakes.
That's right.
We don't cover up history. We learn
Mhm.
about it, so we don't reproduce it, right?
That's right.
So that was Wicklow
That was Wicklow
Jail.
Jail.
Yeah.
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 I hope you
So,
guys enjoyed it.
mhm.
We hope it opens up again soon. We hope that our groups are able to go through there. If there are and you happen to find yourself in Ireland, you
Gotta
gotta
visit.
go.
Yeah.
Gotta do
Gotta
it.
visit. Gotta
Yeah, it was
visit it.
pretty impressive. If anything, at least if it's not open, go by the building. Now, granted, it's gated off because, it's a jail.
The gates to hell.
It's a gates to hell. But maybe you can peek in there, kind of take a look. You'll see what's out here. Kind of take a look at the building. But yeah, it was quite the experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So next week we'll be back with another Secret Ireland
That's right.
tour
That's right.
location. It's a good one. It's a good one. So we're excited to bring it to you. So we hope you enjoyed Wicklow Jail, and we will see you next week.
We'll see you next week.